Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Super Minipla for Ninja Robot Tobokage Volume 1. So I'll be honest with you guys, I have no knowledge of this anime whatsoever. I think the first couple episodes at least are on YouTube, so I'm going to have to check that out. But it's basically a ninja robot, so what more do I need to know? This first set has Tobokage himself, and I'm guessing that that's Tobokage based on the fact that the kanji match. So I'm going to go ahead, go on a limb there and guess that this is Tobokage. And then there's this bear transformer looking dude. So I just think it looked really, really cool. I saw it go up for pre-order on HLJ and I just thought it looked too cool to pass up. So here is the first box, and that should be Tobokage himself. And then you can see on this side it shows you the other two that are in the assortment, which is part A and part B of the larger bear robot. And if we go ahead and take out part A here, I think that's supposed to be a bear. I'll be honest, again, I'm not 100%. It just kind of looks like a bear to me. He's got a large cannon. So like I said, I really don't know anything about this anime, but when I saw the pictures of the robots, I just thought it looked too cool to pass up, so I decided to give it a shot. So I'm going to go ahead and get this built, and then we will take a closer look. Alright, so here they are, fully assembled and stickered up. So this is Tobokage, and I looked it up. This guy's name is Black Lion, even though he is very much yellow, but I guess he's equal parts black as well. I don't know. I guess Black Lion's just a cooler name. But yeah, these guys both look pretty cool. They come with a ton of accessories. I just wanted to show you the comparison real quick because he's almost half the size, but that has to do with how they combine. So we'll get into that. But I'm going to take a look at Tobokage first, and we'll take a look at all his accessories, and then we'll take a look at Black Lion after that. Alright, so here is Tobokage. He looks pretty cool. For a size comparison, here is a Soto Bugster from Xaid. So you can see that he's roughly the same size. He's probably more in scale with Shoto. I just don't have one handy off the bat. And also here is a Core Class Kingdom Optimus Prime. So that just gives you a little bit of a size comparison. He kind of fits in nicely, I would say, with all of them. Honestly, the head sculpt for him also kind of reminds me of Nightbird from that G1 episode, so kind of ties it to Transformers, but not really. In any case, he looks good. I think they did a nice job. The black trim on the shoulder are stickers. The gold is a sticker. Let's see, there's a little bit of black. Like, this front part of the shin is painted, but then the black trim around the back is a sticker. There's really not too many stickers. The head is fully painted. This gold here on the trim, or on the tummy, is a separate piece. This is all just like inlaid plastic. Oh, the red here on the shoulder, this red trim on the shoulder and on the back of the like forearm blade thing are stickers. But everything else is just different colored plastic or paint. So pretty cool. I think he looks good. He's got this sword on his back. It doesn't really like fit in. I mean, it fits in fine, but I guess it's just the design of the show. It would have been nice if it was just a normal sheath so that the sword stayed all the way in. But you can see it pegs in there to the midsection, and then you just take the sword out, and then we can pop it into his hand very simply. There you go. Looks pretty good. I really like the head sculpt. I think that's really cool. Like I said, I've not seen anything of this anime. I haven't watched anything yet. I'm going to try and find an episode or two just to get an idea. But so far, I like the designs. I think he looks pretty cool. Head is on this kind of weird hinge. I'm not really sure why, because when I do the transformation, it doesn't really come into play. So maybe it's for something in the future. I'm not sure. But there is a ball joint. Like, that hinge is right below a ball joint. So you can get a normal range of motion for the head as well. You have a swivel here in the shoulder. You have the shoulder pad that can kind of move up and down. And then you have a ball joint underneath that for the actual shoulder. So the way this works is, and this is for the transformation, but this will pull out and then swing around the back. So there's that joint in there. But then this piece, obviously, because you could just unpeg it, because that's just how model kits work. So there's a swivel there if I push that all back on. And then at the actual shoulder joint in here, there's a ball joint. So you got a lot of motion in there. You got a bicep swivel. You have pretty much 90 degrees in the elbow. You have a ball joint for the wrist because he has interchangeable hands. We'll get there in a moment. You have a ball joint there in the torso section. You have this panel here on the front, and I don't know if I did something to mine, but this side never really wants to click on and stay on all the way. So like whenever I go to move it, it always just pops off, as you can see. It's not a big problem. It's just kind of annoying because it's constantly popping off, but you can always pop it back on. But if I lift that up temporarily, you can see that there's a ball joint there in the hip. I believe there's a thigh swivel. Yeah, there is a thigh swivel. You can see that moving around. You have double jointed knees. Again, it's mostly for the transformation, but helps out in robot mode. And then this is a ball joint here in the ankle. And then you have a little bit of ankle tilt, really just forward and back because of the transformation. But you can see that the ball joint in the ankle is kind of beveled out on the side so that you can do ankle tilt to the side. So that's nice. So all in all, it's a pretty solid little figure. I like it quite a bit. He looks really neat. He comes with a ton of accessories though. So first off, we have the sword and the sheath, which I think looks pretty cool. He comes with alternate versions of that. So he has this version here where it's got a different sword, and you can see that this one, it looks like an extra blade pops out of the handle. So I guess that gives him a little bit more as far as fighting possibilities when you have that extra blade. So they have that option there. And then he also comes with two versions of the sheath. And that's because if we take this off, and see there, that just fell off without any kind of provocation. That's fine, we'll get back to you. So this version of the sheath pegs into the back, and you put the sword in, and you're good to go. But there's another version of the sheath where you peg the sword in like this, or maybe is it supposed to be like this? I might be doing it backwards. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's like that. And it has a handle. So I guess he takes the sheath off and uses it as a sword, or as a gun rather. So there you go. So that has the option to, I guess I haven't seen the show, but he must put the sword in and then take the sheath off and use it as a gun. So that gives you that option as well. Now theoretically, you could have, because they give you both pieces, you could put the sheath on the back and use this sheath piece as a gun. I don't know how accurate to the show that would be. I would assume he's only got one sheath, but they do give you both pieces there. Clip you back on. You're going to be a bummer, aren't you? I don't know why this thing always pops off so much, but it's kind of a bummer. But anyway, that's cool. I think that's neat. And you can, if you want, put the longer sword piece in this as well. So if you wanted to put it on his back like that, it can fit in either one. But I just wanted to show off that he comes with that. I don't think it really matters which way you put the sword in the sheath, if whichever way fits better. I think it's supposed to go like this, but I'm not 100% sure. And I don't know if it matters which shoulder you put it over, but there's that as well. And then the last few accessories he comes with, this is a little piece that's used for the transformation, so we'll come back to this in a minute. He also comes with a bunch of different hands, so let me show those all off to you real quick. He's got a set of closed fists, and then he's got a set of super open hands, I guess, to do different poses and whatnot, so that's kind of cool. I have his two just weapon holding hands attached right now, and it's very simple. They're just little ball joints, so you just pop it off, and you can pop this one on, or whichever other one you want to switch out. The other thing he's got, these pieces here on the side, you can actually pop off. A little easier said than done, but I promise they do come off. There we go. And he comes with these alternate ones that you can pop on, and you can see that they have little pop out, I guess, missile ballistas or whatever those are called. Probably using the wrong term, but basically, let me zoom in here a little bit. It's hard to see the detail because it's all in black, but these are supposed to pop out, and then I assume he fires missiles or shurikens or something from that. So they give you both options so that you can display it however you want. It doesn't actually pop in and out, which would be cool, but I get it. But they at least give you both options so that you can have it popped out or popped in. And they give you one for each side. Here's the other one for the other side. So I believe that's all of his accessories. But yeah, he's a cool little figure. And like I said, it's kind of fun because he is pretty much in scale with like 3 3/4 inch figures. So he looks really cool. Next up, we have Black Lion. And he's definitely pretty big. I would say he's at least 5 inches tall. Do I have anything to compare him to? Well, handy I have a Voyager class Transformer, which you can see he's not quite as tall. Probably about a head shorter, maybe a little bit more. So probably like 5 inches tall or something like that. But he looks great, especially next to Tobokage. He looks beefy. Very cool. I love this like giant beam saber he comes with. This thing looks absolutely fantastic. He comes with a bunch of accessories. We'll get to all that in a minute, but I really like the look of this sword. I think it's really cool. And I believe this is all painted in kind of a metallic green. If we go ahead and pop that out, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all paint. So that's really, really cool. And then this is all painted gold. So they did a really nice job with this. He also has this ridiculously gigantic katana, which again I think looks really, really cool. This one has a little peg to peg into the side of his hand. I guess because it's so big he'd drop it otherwise, but that looks really cool. He also comes with this like gigantic like Gatling gun looking thing. The sides flip up like this, and then he holds onto these pegs on the side, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But that's massive. It's absolutely huge. And then he comes with a bunch of alternate hands. So first of all, let's take a look at him. Take a look at that head sculpt. Let me angle this camera up. Pretty cool. Nice blue eyes. Let me tilt this up a little bit. And I like the kind of design of the animal head there on his helmet. I think that looks really cool. Unfortunately, you can see that the silver paint on mine is a little messed up. You can't really tell unless you get really in there. But there's a couple of like paint blotches or spots that like I guess maybe it flaked off. I'm not really sure. And again, it's hard to see, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But luckily, like I said, because it's so tiny in there, it's really kind of hard to notice. I noticed it when I was assembling it, but now it's not too bad. The head is on a ball joint, so you have up and down, rock side to side, spin side to side all around there. You have a hinge here, but you also have this kind of like extra hinge system going on here. So you have like a spin there, and then this moves around, and I'm not really sure what all this is for. I'm assuming maybe it's more for the lion mode. But there's a ton of extra pieces in there, I guess, to bring that out, and I don't know. I'm not really sure. I mean, you can do some up and down like this, which is nice. You can do side to side there. I don't know. There's a bunch of extra articulation points in there. This spins here. This rocks like this. That's for the transformation. You have this movement here as well. You have this bicep swivel. You have an additional swivel at the forearm. You have 90 degrees right there. And then, like I said, the hands are ball joints. And he comes with extra ones so you can pop them in and out. This is going to swivel down eventually as part of the transformation, but we'll get there later. You do have a little bit of waist movement here, but stuff does not really clear all that well, so be a little careful with that. You have a swivel here in the, I guess this is kind of his hip. His hips are kind of out to the side here, so you can see the swivel there. Again, this rotates, but that's for the transformation. You do have a swivel here. I guess that's considered his thigh. You have 90 degrees there. Now, he does have kind of a double jointed knee. So you can get that. It's a little wonky, though, with how the legs work, and we'll get into that with the transformation, but yeah. He does have a double jointed knee. You just kind of have to be careful because of all the stuff he's got hanging around back here. And then I would say because of how it transforms, that's pretty much all you're going to get out of this. Is just from the knee down is kind of solid in this mode. And then he's got this tail on the back, which is on a ball joint. It just kind of sits up here in robot mode, but I guess if you wanted to move it around or something, you could. But he looks cool. I like it a lot. Let's see if I can get him to hold this accessory, how difficult this will be. Because he's got obviously kind of a barrel chest, so it'll probably be kind of difficult. I would assume I'll probably have to bring this, maybe if I rotate this and bring this in. But now this piece is getting in the way. Maybe if I rotate this down and then rotate this around. I'm trying to think. I thought on the box I saw him holding it, but I don't remember exactly what configuration they used. This might be, this is a closed fist? Let's see if I have a more open fist for this guy. Yeah, let's try this one. That's better. Yeah, I feel like, oh, you know what I could also do? I could do this, because he does have this, the way these rock. Let's try that. Yeah, I'm sure with that you could get it to work. And still kind of difficult, but there we go. We did it. We did it. So anyway, he's got this giant cannon that he can hold in the front. Obviously, it makes him ridiculously front heavy because he's about to fall over, but it's kind of a neat accessory. I wish it was a little bit easier for him to use, but still pretty cool. We'll put that off to the side. All right, let me put this on. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's what these are for. Yeah, that's what that, actually, that is probably what those are for. So you can get that around. That would make sense anyway. All right, let's bend this all back. So he also has that giant sword, which I'm going to give him in this hand. And then he's got his second hand. Well, really, he's got the two closed fists, which aren't 100% closed, but they're pretty much his closed fists. And then he's got a set of open hands. And you can see that the open hands have a peg hole on the side. And that's so that you can put this sword in here and peg that right in like that. And then that way you just pop this off and pop this on. And then he's got two weapons. And I mean, that looks really awesome. Two gigantic weapons. He looks pretty cool there. I like that. All right, let's get Tobokage ready for the transformation here. We're going to go ahead and remove the sword and sheath. We're going to pop his hands off, put them off to the side. If you have the wider, like, hip missile pieces, you have to put the smaller ones on, so make sure you have that. This you'll lift up. Now mine's probably going to pop off. I'm honestly just going to put it off to the side for now. We'll bring it back a little bit later on. You're also going to come around to the back and remove this back skirt piece. Wiggle that off. There you go. And we can put that off to the side. And then you're going to bring this piece that I talked about earlier and peg that in to where the sheath was pegged in, like so. Now at this point, the front is going to swivel down, as you can see. So that kind of comes apart right there. And then this will pop down like so. If you do still have this front piece on, you have to flip that up. Obviously I took mine off, but you can pull the arms out, push these down. If you have the arms like this, you have to put them like this. This will tip a little bit kind of like that, and then these will just come straight back, and everything will just kind of like line up like that as best you can. Do the same with the other arm. Pull that piece out, flip this up, flip this like this, kind of straighten it out, and then bring this back and put that like so. Then you're going to take the legs, put them straight back, and then on those double jointed knees, first push this in like so, and then you're going to lift this up and kind of just compress it against the body as best you can. Nothing pegs in or anything like that. So you're just kind of doing the best you can to... Now I don't... Oh, is there? Okay, there is a spot. I was wrong about that. See how there is a peg hole on the side of the leg? That's going to peg in on this piece here. I missed that the first time around. But that should hopefully shore this up a little bit, which would be nice. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, that's going to be a big deal. Okay. This is good. Let me get this one on. Alright, well, I have to play with the angles. And sometimes that gets a little, because that peg just kind of can rotate freely in there. Alright, come on now. Don't be troublesome. There we go. Okay, and then you want to point these ones straight down for whatever reason. But now that that's all pegged in, you're going to push this back as far as you can. And there, you're pretty much ready. He kind of forms the little core, so he should be all set to go. Alright, for Black Lion, the first thing you're going to do, kind of put your finger right here. You can see that there's like the tiniest little lip right there. You're going to just kind of get your fingernail in there, and then this whole panel is going to kind of pop off that the head is connected to. So you can see that that entire panel comes off, and then you got to put that off to the side. Then you're going to rotate this around like so, and that'll kind of stay about there. Let's see. Then we want to rotate the arms inward. And then you go ahead, I've already removed the hands, but you take the hands off as well. And then you're going to just swivel this around like so. And that's going to become your front lion paws. Now you can do whatever you want. If you want to, probably want to rotate this like this so that you have that joint there. So you probably want to rotate that to the front and then just spin that around like that. And there you go. So that's kind of the front of the lion. And then you're going to rotate these inward as well. Swivel this back around. And this is where it gets a little weird. I'm going to be completely honest. This is a little bit weird. So you can see that there's kind of a tiny like lion foot inside the big robot. So you kind of want to like pull this part down on the side here. And that will extend ever so slightly. And then that'll help you pop that out so that you can kind of rotate this up. And then you have this silver piece, which in my opinion doesn't really need to exist at all and just kind of causes problems. But you have to kind of rotate this around, and it's on a track as well. So you can actually, you can see I can slide it on this track that it's on. So however you need to kind of manipulate it around so that you can get this piece, bring this around, spin it around, and then it's going to kind of come in like this. And again, you just kind of have to slide it along the track and figure out how to make it fit best. But you want it to get about there. You kind of want it almost flush with this piece, so kind of about there. Then you're going to bring this down, and then this is going to, I don't know if you collapse it back up, you might. And then this just kind of pops up here like this. Yeah, I think you collapse it back down. And then it just kind of like sits up here. And you can see it just kind of like becomes the like back haunch of the lion, if that makes sense. And then you can kind of play with these pieces to get that about where you want it. So again, you're going to pop this down. This swivels back. Then you have to kind of rotate this piece around. Bring this down to about there or so. Let me bring this up a little bit. It's just kind of like finding the right angle. It can get a little wonky. I'm going to fix this. Alright, so once you have those back two pieces, you can swivel the tail around. Now the directions actually tell you to take the tail off and peg it back on later. I don't see the point. I don't feel like it's really in the way, so I just leave it on and then just swivel it around. You can take it off if you want. You're going to rotate this piece around like so. These will kind of come forward to form little horns. This is going to come down a little bit, and then we can open the mouth like so. Now at this point, you're pretty much done with this, but you can see the inside's all hollow. So how this is going to work, this is going to rotate up a little bit. This can actually rotate back a little bit to give you some space, and then this little panel is going to pop out here. And you probably have no way you're ever going to see this, but actually, okay, right there. You can see those two little peg holes right there. If we bring Tobokage back in, he's got two little pegs right there. Now this is incredibly difficult to line up. And I'll be honest, you may not actually get this to peg all the way in. And you kind of don't have to, honestly. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot a step. Inside here, there's these two little pieces that you have to flip up. I don't know if you can see them because, again, everything's black inside here, but you can see them now. These two little pieces right there, they were down. You just rotate them up 90 degrees. They kind of just serve as guides. And you can also see there's kind of a little bevel right here. And that's for the pieces on his thighs. So you can kind of use all that as a guide to kind of line this up to where this is supposed to go. And then you just kind of need to get him back in there. And he should peg in. I mean, even if he doesn't peg in all the way, it's not a big deal, because honestly, you can just kind of close this up. He might not actually be in enough right now. Hold on. I think I need to put this up higher. And it is kind of difficult to get this in here, I will be completely honest. But when you're done, it will be cool. Alright, so then this should close up, no problem. Actually, hold on. I might have to push the shoulder pads back a little bit. Hold on. Yeah, unfortunately it's not as easy as you'd like it to be to get this part in here, but you can close this back up. Why is this part not? I swear I did this earlier and he wasn't even pegged in all that well, and it still was perfectly fine, and now it's not working. Yeah, I think maybe I need to push these down a little bit, because this really should be a little bit higher up, I think. There we go. And then I can close this. Well, you get the idea. That's how it's supposed to work. And then you have... Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe because this wasn't... This had come down a little bit. That's probably what it was. There we go. Now it's closed up. Now we're talking. Okay, there we go. So it is a little fiddly. And they also want you to bring this piece back in and unpeg these. And then come underneath here. And those two pegs that we popped out, you're supposed to peg them. I think it's like this. You're supposed to peg this on here. And that's supposed to peg in. And I don't have that pegged on right. It's just sitting in there. But I'm not going to bother. But that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to... this front peg hole is supposed to peg onto that peg right there. I could try to do one at least to show you. Maybe, do I have them on backwards? I might. Yeah, I think I do actually. That's probably why it's not working. It's supposed to go like this. And again, it's hard to line all these things up when they're so far deep in, but that's what you're supposed to do. So you're supposed to peg that in, if you can see that. And again, it just kind of keeps them in there a little bit. All right, I'll do the other one. This piece here, unfortunately, just going to have to keep off to the side. There's not anywhere to really store that. So let me try to get this one back on here. There we go. And then if you took this piece off, you can put it back on his waist. If yours is like mine and unfortunately falls off at the drop of a hat. Come on, get that back on. There we go. So there you go. There is the fully formed Beast Demon Black Lion. That is the official name of this form. You can open up his mouth, as I showed earlier, and he's got a little peg up there. And you just take the giant katana. Let me unpeg it from his hand here that it's pegged into. And you just peg that into the roof of his mouth. And then he is ready to go. And I think that's pretty cool. Now, the thing that I think is funny, when I looked at this on the packaging, I just thought, you know, Black Lion just transformed from robot mode to lion mode. Because in all honesty, and this thing just fell off again, you don't have to put this guy in here. I mean, when you have it down like this, you really can't tell. So if you wanted to just transform him back and forth, you don't actually have to put him in the stomach. But I feel like he fits pretty well once you can actually get everything lined up. But it's very much a pain to get everything lined up because you have to kind of push that in, and it's all the way at the back of the cavity, and it's difficult to get it lined up. But once you do, it looks really cool. But again, if you really wanted to, you could just have Black Lion just transform and you'd never know Tobokage is not in his stomach unless you flipped it upside down. But this is a really cool mode. I like this a lot. Now again, our articulation is going to be the same as the individual legs. Well, at least for the front, it's going to be pretty much the same. It gets a little wonky back here because of how this all kind of hangs up here. But you can definitely still at least do this movement here. And then you have a kind of swivel and a little bit of side-to-side rocking in the back legs. I forgot that they're new because they were part of the inside of the foot earlier. But yeah, he looks cool. I like him a lot. I also like how these horns in the front, I think, look really cool. Yeah, he looks great. I think this is a really cool set, especially as someone who's never seen the anime. I just think it's two cool robots. I mean, you have a ninja robot and a transforming lion robot. What's not to love? They look great. Articulation's good. I applaud the minimal use of stickers. For the most part, they do use different colored plastic when it can be used. Stickers are mostly used for kind of like thin contour, panel lining situations, things where they just really couldn't use a separate piece of plastic. But minimal sticker usage, they go on, they stick well, look great. The accessory count's fantastic. I love their weapons. For Tobokage, you have the sword, and then the sword with the extra blade out the bottom of the hilt. You have two versions of the sheath or scabbard, whatever term you want to use. One that connects to the back, and then one with the handle, so it can be used for the gun configuration. I love Black Lion's accessories. That beam sword I have him with right now is my favorite. The metallic green paint they use just really looks perfect. I love it. And then you have this giant katana, which looks great in both robot and lion mode. So they did such a good job with all of this. I think everything looks great. This is probably my least favorite accessory, not because there's anything wrong with it. It's just kind of cumbersome and hard to get him to hold, but it can be done, as we saw earlier. Not super successfully, but I'm sure if you take a moment, you could refine the pose, and you can definitely hold it, which is the important part. And then, of course, you get a ton of extra hands to make everything work. Everyone pretty much comes with like a weapon grasping set of hands, an open set of hands, and then a closed fist set of hands. So that's 3 sets of hands for each, which is really nice. And then, of course, you have this piece here for the combination. Now, what you can do, I've thought about this. If you open this up, you do have a little bit of room there in the cavity of his chest. I would recommend, I mean, technically you could put his extra fists and everything in there, but it's going to rattle around a lot. But I would recommend putting at least that one piece in there. Just that way, if you were to store all the rest of the accessories somewhere else and then you wanted to do the combination still, you'd have that piece handy. Because none of the other accessories are necessary to do the combination, but except that one piece. So at least you have it on hand. That's just my suggestion. That's what I'm going to do. Just keep that one piece in his chest there. But yeah, I mean, technically you don't even need to do the combination to transform into the lion mode. You could just transform Black Lion into the lion mode, and you really wouldn't know Tobokage is not in there unless you flipped it upside down and looked. But just by kind of posing him in the lion mode, I'm sorry, the beast demon black lion mode, you really can't tell if he's in there or not. So it's up to you if you want to go through all that rigmarole to transform him. And the transformation is a little difficult just because how deep the connection is into the body. It's hard to get it all the way back in there and pegged in and lined up perfectly. But once you do, it stays pretty solidly and it looks good once you can finally get it in there. It's just a little cumbersome to get it done. But yeah, I think it's a fun set. It's not perfect, but for the most part, I'm having fun with it. And I recommend checking it out if you can get it for, normal retail. I wouldn't go out of the way. I think it's older now, so it might be discontinued, but I would check Mandarake, Yahoo Japan auctions, things like that. Some stores may have it in stock. It's not super old, but it's definitely at least 6 months old probably at this point. So I recommend checking it out if you can. It's a really cool set. And I'm definitely going to have to check out this anime now because it has my interest peaked. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.